Hello. Today I'm taking a look at a Saint Emilion. This is Mondot. It's a Saint Emilion Grand Cru. It's a 2016. Now Mondot is actually the second wine of a Saint Emilion Premier Grand Cru Classé B, Troplong Mondot. And in fact, the year following this, in 2017, Troplong Mondot was acquired by a French insurance group, SCOR. But at this stage in 2016, it was still owned by the Valette family. Now, the Valette family had purchased Troplong Mondot in 1936, but it wasn't until 1980, one source I've seen says 1981, that Christine Valette and her husband, Xavier Pariente, took over the running of the estate. And from this stage, the estate underwent a renaissance. They restructured the vineyards. They reverted to hand picking. They got rid of the machine harvester. And quite importantly, they employed Michel Rolland as their wine consultant. And all this work, although it took time, actually bore fruit. And in 2006, the estate gained its Premier Grand Cru Classé B status. And that was a status that it managed to maintain in the 2012 classification of Saint Emilion as well. So by this stage, the first wine of Troplong Mondot is established as a Premier Grand Cru Classé. As I say, Mondot actually has its own classification of Grand Cru. Now, the approach that the Valettes and Michel Rolland had to turning Troplong Mondot's fortunes around was to change the style of the wine in a way that was very polarising. Troplong Mondot became known for producing alcoholic, rich wines made with really ripe Merlot, wines that did their malolactic conversion in barrel, used lots of new oak, and where micro-oxidation was employed to soften any harsh tannins. So in many ways, Troplong Mondot was at the forefront of the change in style that went on at many Saint Emilion properties throughout the 90s and the 2000s. Now, unfortunately, Christina Valette died at quite a young age in 2014, so before this wine was produced. And a few years after her death, the family sold the estate, which was how it came into the hands of SCOR. So at the time that this wine was made, there were about 27 hectares. Today, they've acquired another 10 hectares, and actually, these days, the wine that is Mondot is made almost entirely from the acquired 10 hectares. At this stage, however, it was simply made from declassified fruit that would otherwise have gone into Troplong Mondot. The wine's 100% Merlot, and although I don't have a clear technical sheet for this wine, as described, the wine will have been hand-picked. The Merlot will have been very ripe. I mean, the label says this is 15.5% alcohol. The wine should be well integrated and rounded because it will have done its malolactic conversion in the barrel. There should be a presence of new oak, giving rich sort of vanilla and lovely cedary tannins to the wine. I'm expecting it to be concentrated and dark. I'm expecting the tannins to be soft and smooth, assisted by the use of micro-oxygenation. So let's see what we make of the wine, shall we? First thing I'd say is it's really deep and dark. It's staining everything. It stains the glass as I swirl it. There's an almost sort of purplish note at the rim, but actually the black ruby colour is holding very well to the rim there as I swirl. And the tears that are forming are quite pronounced. So let's see what we make of the aroma, shall we? As expected, the aromas are rich and hedonistic. There's a real dark black damson, bullace, black cherry sort of note to the fruit. It's ripe, it's juicy, it's powerful. Within the very rich, ripe fruit, I'm seeing notes that suggest new oak to me. There are sweet spices. There's cinnamon, there's nutmeg, there's cedar, there's vanilla. There are chocolatey notes. The wine's got good intensity and there's plenty going on in there. So let's have a taste. The palate is rich and rounded. It opens with that juicy black fruit, sort of very high ripeness black cherries, followed up by dark black jammy plums, damsons, bullace, that sort of style of black fruit. There's actually a fair grip of some quite fine grained tannins on the mid palate. Some of that is a sort of a graphitey nature, and it's almost getting to a sort of a bitter licorice concentration. There's enough acidity to keep the fruit fresh. Of course there's warming alcohol, and that's picking up some spice. There are some quite heady notes that are picking out some cedary notes towards the finish. The finish has a medium to good length, and again it's this rich black fruit. It's the sort of damson jam notes with some sort of cedary sweet spice alongside it, and a bit of structure. The acidity does seem to have faded a little on the finish, but there is still a juicy nature to the fruit. So I think it's just that the richness of the fruit isn't allowing the acidity to show as readily as that. I think it's a wine that if you love hedonistic wines, it's completely drinkable now. The structure is not astringent, so there isn't a need to wait for the tannins to soften before drinking this. I'm sure you could keep it in your cellar for another 5 or 10 years very happily without it declining. I mean, the alcohol alone as a preservative is going to keep this wine stable. And it is an attractive drink. If you enjoy big, rich, ripe wines, this is a wine for you. Now, I noticed the aggregated wine searcher score we have there, where we put together the scores of the various critics, only marks this as 88 out of 100. In some ways, I think this is being hard done by. I think if you don't like this style, maybe 88 points out of 100 might be viewed as being a little on the generous side. But I actually think that of the style of wine that's trying to be produced, if you enjoy this style of wine, you might think that this is worth another couple of points, 90 or so. But if you're looking for a delicate, elegant, perfumed Saint Emilion, this probably isn't the wine to try. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the tasting. If you've found it interesting, do please press the like button. If you'd like to watch more of these videos, do please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That way you can set an alert to make sure you're notified next time we release a new tasting. If you have any comments, do please leave those in the box below. We'd love to get your feedback on the wines we're looking at, the tastings we're doing, or anything else that relates to that. If you have friends you think might like to watch the tasting as well, do please feel free to forward the video to them. That would be great. I will leave a link in the notes below so that you can follow that to the Wine Searcher website, and there you'll be able to see current pricing, where the wine's available from. You can look at critics' reviews and see what they think of it. You can look at historic pricing, and you can see if the average score that I've mentioned has changed at all. So thank you very much for joining us, and I do hope you'll take some time and come and join us for another tasting again in the near future. Thanks again. Bye for now.